The Bataan Death March. No excuses accepted. Hello, this is Lessons in History with Roger Weston. Welcome to my world where history repeats itself every day. We shine the light on great events, great villains, great disasters, and great heroes. We peel back the layers of history and uncover the lessons that we can use in our own life, in our own situation. December 7th, 1941. The Japanese pour ashore in the Philippines. They overwhelm the American forces there, who are in terrible shape. They are starving, they are diseased, they are malnourished. 80% have malaria, 50% have dysentery. They're in abysmal condition. And the Japanese have overwhelming numbers, and it's just a matter of time before the Americans were forced to surrender. It was a dark moment in American history. 75,000 American troops and Filipino troops are taken on a march. They're marched 65 miles to prison camps. Now, there's one problem with this march, which is the fact that they're not allowed to drink water. Not only are they diseased, not only do they have malaria, having malaria attacks, dysentery, they're denied water in over 100-degree temperatures, and they're forced on this long march, which in their deteriorated condition is very difficult. And the rules are very simple. You stop, you die. If an American soldier can't walk, if he staggers and stops, he is shot in the head. If he falls down, he is bayoneted. If he has a malarial attack, he is shot. If he has to stop to defecate, he is bayoneted and shot and left by the side of the road. The road is lined with corpses. 5,000 to 10,000 bodies are left dead alongside of the road on this Bataan Death March. The soldiers learn a lesson. They learn something about motivation. They learn that they understand the rules of the game. If they want to live, they keep going. There are no excuses accepted by the Japanese. Now, some of them are unable to go in any case, and that's why there's so many dead. One man who was able to survive this cruel ordeal was Lester Tenney. Now, Lester was suffering mightily, particularly when they were marched past sources of fresh water, but unable to stop for a drink, no matter how hot they were, no matter how thirsty they were. But Lester had a strategy that he used, which was he would spot landmarks in the distance, not all the way, but just in the distance, on the horizon. They'd spot landmarks, such as a herd of caribou. He once mentioned that as an example. He'd spot a distant herd of caribou, and he'd say, "I have to get to that herd of caribou. If I do nothing else, I will get to that herd of caribou, or I will die." And so they could beat him. He could suffer all kinds of ravages of disease, or thirst, or hunger, or abuse, or anything else. But none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered to Lester was to get to that herd of caribou, or that landmark, whatever it happened to be. And then once he got there, he'd spot another landmark on the horizon, and that'd be his new goal, little goals. And by this method, he survived the Bataan Death March. Now, once they got there to the camps, the conditions they weren't much better. Thousands more were killed or died of various conditions in the camps. Leicester was put to work in a coal mine where they had brutal conditions. So, this went on, and eventually America got their revenge. They retook the land on the Philippines, and that was the end of that. But if we look back at this and look at what we can learn from this in our own situation, Lester Tenney's story stands out to me as a beautiful example of small goals, and how setting small goals for ourselves can be an excellent way to deal with the adversity that we're caught up in. And no matter how painful it is for us, no matter what we're going through, no matter what we're suffering, we can think like Lester Tenney and go, think of a small goal out in front of us. We don't have to overcome our entire challenge, our entire obstacle, but we can just have one small goal on the way there, that we could make that our sole focus, and just get that one little thing accomplished, that one little step on the stairs, and then once we get that done, we can set another small goal. So I think Lester Tenney's survival of the brutal Bataan death march really sets an example for how we can overcome adversity in our own life. Thanks for watching. I'm Roger Weston. There's Lessons in History.